One employee even took to social media after the incident, writing, quote, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, no amount of evil you send our way can ever take our smiles away. I'm proud AF to work here. I'm proud to be gay, and I'm proud to be an Arkansan.
A customer patronized your restaurant, and some other crazy people got mad that you should have kicked out or told to leave or fired. Up first, it's so funny. I'm getting flashbacks. Like history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. Back in Trump's first term, there was this whole brouhaha because the woman who was then his press secretary, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, was kicked out of a restaurant in D.C. because of angry libs being like, you're not welcome here. And it was a whole national story. Well, she's now, all these years later, she's now the governor of Arkansas, which is not exactly a woke state. Like, it's not giving, like, liberal. Oh, yeah, you know, in Arkansas where the blue hair people. No, it's a red state. But yet, a restaurant decided that because apparently, like, her presence makes gay staff unsafe, or some kind of stupid BS like that, that they asked her to leave and made it clear she was not welcome there as the Republican MAGA governor, which it's like, if you listen, whether you agree with Trump, whether you love him, whether you hate him, I am very critical these days, but this is just so ridiculous, so close-minded, and not the kind of society I want to live in. We're going to get into the details. Here's the Mediaite headline. Sarah Huckabee Sanders kicked out of restaurant and flipped off by employees who felt threatened. Now, for the full story, I'm just going to play you a clip of Fox News with some of the details, because the restaurant actually doubled down, which I find diabolical. They're like, yeah, we did do that, and we stand by it. Let's listen.
Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders has once again been targeted for being conservative while out in public. This time, Sanders...
Stop. Oh, my God. They did her dirty. They did her dirty with that still.
Was visiting a cafe with other moms near her children's school when she was asked to leave by staff. Is this ringing bells to you? Happened to her once before. Her team says a man yelled, "It's time to go," and made an inappropriate gesture towards her. One employee even took to social media after the incident, writing, quote, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, no amount of evil you send our way can ever take our smiles away. I'm proud AF to work here. I'm proud to be gay, and I'm proud to be an Arkansan. My voice matters. Try again, the restaurant saying in a statement to a local CBS affiliate. Ultimately, we made the decision to support our employees and guests who expressed they were uncomfortable. To clarify, we do not recall any statements indicating that anyone felt threatened. Additionally, the individual who made an inappropriate hand gesture was a customer, not an employee, and the matter has been addressed. We regret being placed in this position and having to make a difficult decision. However, we stand by our choice to support our employees and guests. Now, Sanders, of course, addressed the situation, saying in part, Arkansans are known for their warm hospitality, and while that restaurant didn't meet that standard, my administration will continue to focus on lifting Arkansans up, not tearing others down, which is a great way of addressing this.
So listen, I don't know much about Sarah Huckabee Sanders, but I will say her response to that seemed to me pretty classy. I'm imagining some other Republicans in that situations, like maybe a Nancy Mace, would like crash out and lose their mind and go nuclear and scorched earth on this restaurant. And I think that's probably overkill. But what they did is so insane on so many levels. And the gaslighting is going to have me pull my hair out a little bit. They're saying we regret being put in this position. What? You weren't put in a position. A customer patronized your restaurant, and some other crazy people got mad that you should have kicked out or told to leave or fired. I'm sorry, but like, if you are a restaurant worker and are not okay with the idea that people who don't share your politics may eat at your restaurant, including, yes, elected officials, you shouldn't be a restaurant worker. The point is you have to serve everybody, especially in freaking Arkansas. What do you mean? The majority of your customers are probably Republicans. It's not like this is some LA cafe where, like, I would still find it obnoxious. I would find it diabolical. I would find it ridiculous for them to pull a stunt like this. But at least then they wouldn't be nuking their reputation with the majority of their customers. Like, this place might go out of business because of this, especially because they doubled down. The smart thing to do would have been fire any employees involved, issue a public apology, and make it clear that as a restaurant, we're here to serve the whole community. And this is a place where people can come together. It's not like Sarah Huckabee Sanders was doing anything wrong. It's not like she was hosting, a MAGA convention. She was eating there with other moms, probably talking about their kids and school. It's like you just have to be a deranged person to act like this. To say, oh, I'm unsafe. I'm proud to be gay. No one said anything about you being gay. Being in the same room as a Republican does not make you unsafe as a gay person. Like, you genuinely sound like you belong in a padded room pulling this kind of crap. And I think this business could go out of business. I actually was reading about it this morning. The place that kicked her out in DC is no longer in business. And is that a coincidence? I don't know. But especially, and that's DC, where most of the people there that live there are super lived out. And that's the thing about this that seems so super woke. I'm probably gonna have to bleep that, but y'all know what I mean. So self-defeatingly woke that, like, how could you ever think this was gonna go well for you, or this was something you should do or double down in a state that's a red state and has a Republican governor? Like, do we just not do critical thinking? We don't do any kind of consequences to our actions? And of course, like, the liberal progressive commentariat cheered for this, and they compared it instantly to they don't have to bake the cake. And it's like, there's kind of a false conflation here, because I certainly agree that a restaurant has a legal right and should have a legal right and does, but there are actually some places where they don't because of anti-discrimination laws and ordinances that protect political identity. But in many places, and I think actually in all places, they should, as a business owner, have the legal right as part of their freedom of association to say Republicans aren't welcome here or Democrats aren't welcome here, because that's a belief system you choose. It's not an immutable characteristic. It's not like being black or being gay. And so I don't really believe in anti-discrimination protections for, like, beliefs and choices. I do believe in them to some extent for immutable characteristics, which being a Republican is not. And but, like, they're conflating two things. The question in the Gay Baker case was not whether what he did was cool or not, whether it was acceptable or not, whether he should be boycotted or not. It was whether he could legally do it or not. That's a separate question from whether it was good, ethical, appropriate, whether customers should boycott him or what have you. And in this case, people are talking about the latter. At least the discourse that I have seen is not like the state needs to sue this restaurant out of oblivion. That would be it would be hypocritical for Republicans and conservatives if they were saying, no, it should be illegal to do this, but it should be legal for cake bakers. But even then, it's a bad comparison, because the cake baker never said, we don't serve gays here. He said this one specific thing, a custom cake, violates my religion and I can't do it. And I cite the First Amendment, but I'll sell you any cake in the store if you're gay. Like, it's just such an in-app comparison. If you're familiar with the details of the case, it's not at all apples to apples. It's totally apples to oranges. But of course, liberals are like, yeah, that'll get them. That'll show them. Not all, of course. I'm sure many people disagree with this who are somewhere on the left or somewhere in the Democratic Party. But it's like, this kind of thing never makes Democrats, it makes them look close-minded and intolerant. And it's the same way, I talked about this recently, when people leave MAGA or leave the Republican Party, and then, like, woke people online just beat them up endlessly, even though they're now agreeing with them for the crime of agreeing with them too late. I don't know what it is, but people with more progressive political perspectives in this country, many of them, the kind of people that work on this restaurant or that dominate the discourse on TikTok, they just seem incredibly talented at, like, repulsing people, not from, like, oh, they're nasty, they're gross, the literal definition of repulsing people or repelling them away from their movement. When call me naive, call me silly, like, I thought the point of a political movement in a democratic or loosely so society was to convince people and bring them in. And in reality, when you do something like this, what they did to Sarah Huckabee Sanders, you're not just sending a message to her, you're sending a message in a red state, which, again, just a insane business decision, to every single person with similar beliefs to her, or that also supports Trump or leans Republican. they're unwelcome and you hate them. And yet you think they're going to change their minds and agree with you when you've already made it clear that you view them as the enemy. That's not how human beings work, right? You have to kind of, you ever heard the saying, like, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar? You can't just like insult and ostracize people into agreement. And in fact, the current moment of like Republican excess and power and overreach that we're in is a response to exactly kind of this kind of attitude dominating so much 2020 to 2022, and we're pushing people the other direction. Now I think we're going overboard in many ways. But like American politics, I always say, is like a pendulum that swings back and forth. And I think right now we're on the right side swinging, and hopefully we'll come back towards the middle. But people are not going to want to keep coming back to the left if the left acts like this, or makes excuses for this, or says this is good or fine. We don't want to end up, I really don't. I do think it should be legal. I believe in freedom of association for this kind of thing. But I really morally and socially think it would be harmful and bad if we literally end up at the point where we are so divided as a society that we have Republican restaurants and Democratic restaurants. Like, really? We can't even shovel down breadsticks in an Olive Garden together anymore? In the same room? In the same vicinity? We can't compete in the obesity Olympics simultaneously, even though we vote for different people? It's like, that's really not the kind of country that I want to live in. And I would totally, unequivocally feel the same way if this was a Democratic politician. So stories all over the news. My take on it is incredibly simple. But unfortunately, I think this will continue, and it may happen more and more to Trump officials. I know, and our country may divide along these lines even more. But hey, that's just my take on all of this. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments.